Today we're going to talk about hip internal rotation. So this is for any of you where you feel like your leg just wants to flop out to the side. We're going to go through why this happens, what kind of is going on inside your body that's causing it to want to involuntarily flop out to the side, and of course some exercises to work on hip internal rotation, and of course putting that into practice with some good balance drills that you can do to kind of reinforce that hip internal rotation so that when you're walking or if you're returning to running or you're playing golf or whatever you're doing, you don't feel like that leg is always rotated out to the side. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara, I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset in the context of neurologic injury, with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your rehab and live an overall happier, healthier, more mobile, pain-free life. And all that said, one of the biggest kind of problems that I see in the comments, or a recurring theme, is why does my leg always flop out? Well, there's a variety of reasons why this could be happening. We're going to go into a few of those reasons. Now, the purpose I always review this is because there are a billion exercises online, and not every exercise is good for everyone. So if you understand the rationale a little bit, you can decide, is this something I want to add to my exercise program or is it not? That is why I feel like it is so important for me to review the rationale behind the exercises every single time so that people aren't doing random exercises that aren't really helping them. So first, why does the leg want to rotate out? Well, it could be coming from the hip, knee, or the ankle as to why the leg does that. If it's coming from the ankle, a lot of times if you supinate or you roll to the outside of your foot, that will cause your leg to rotate out to the side. For those of you that notice that, you're primarily going to see it when you're standing on the leg. So when the foot's on the ground and the foot tries to supinate, kind of your tibia, your shin bone will just roll to the outside of your ankle, and then it just goes all the way up the chain, makes the knee rotate out, makes the hip rotate out. So that's number one. If you know you have a supinated foot, then some of the exercises we go through today, and your knee flops out, then some of the exercises we go through today might be beneficial. The other reason is that you have an abnormal synergy pattern. So what's an abnormal synergy pattern that makes that leg flop out to the side? Well, an abnormal synergy pattern is when muscles link up abnormally together. If you have a flexor synergy pattern, that means that when you want to flex your hip up, it automatically rotates out to the side because those two movements are linked together. The other movement that is linked with that is ankle dorsiflexion, so lifting your foot up. So hip external rotation with hip flexion and ankle dorsiflexion all go together. So if you are trying to walk and you're trying to bring your leg forward, right? So you're flexing your hip or you're bringing your knee up towards your chest and you have this abnormal synergy pattern, then your leg's going to want to flop out to the side. So if that is you, then you want to work on lifting your hip up, flexing your hip, without it rotating out to the side. That is isolating hip movement and breaking up an abnormal synergy pattern. So those are probably the two main reasons. Oh, and the other one is just tightness in the external rotator. So tightness in the muscles that rotate the knee or rotate the hip outward, or weakness in the internal rotators. And guess what? In most cases, it's probably not one. It's probably a little bit of all of those things that I just said in my experience. So if you've had damage to your brain or your spinal cord, it could be a little bit of tightness, a little bit of true weakness, a little bit of poor connection with the brain, with the muscles that internally rotate the leg, and then a little bit of what we call this like abnormal synergy pattern, or this abnormal linking up. So what we're going to go over in today's video is how to flex the knee up without it rotating out to the side. And if you're someone that supinates a lot and your foot is actually kind of the root cause, well, we kind of need to retrain your leg to internally rotate when you're standing on it. And that might include pronating the foot. So supination is when the feet roll out. Pronation is when the feet kind of more or less roll in, or the arch of the foot drops down. So we need to work on pronating the foot, which will also help to internally rotate that hip. So That's everything we're going to go over today, but let's do where I always like to start, and that is with some mat exercises. All right, now remember I did say that these were the more advanced exercises. I've done other videos where I've done simpler or more early stage internal rotation exercises. So if you can't do some of these, then I highly recommend that you go back to some of the videos where I start at the very beginning, and I will link some of those videos below. But for this one, you're just going to start sitting. You want to start with your leg internally rotated and try and lift the leg without the knee flopping out. So for a lot of you, this is going to be pretty advanced, but again, this is for those of you that are in those really late stages. So start with it internally rotated to kind of set yourself up for success, and then just try and do a little lift. It's not going to come up very high, but what we're trying to do is flex the hip or bring that knee up towards your chest, which is a part of the walking cycle, without your leg flopping out to the side. So slightly internally rotated, lift. Lift, lift. All right, then once you get good at that, and again, these are the advanced exercises, you're going to keep that hip rotated inward, and you're just going to do a little roll out and a little roll back. So because this is so unstable, your brain's going to be even more apt, or your spasticity or whatever that involuntary movement is that's causing that leg to do that, it's going to probably want to rotate out more, and your foot's going to want to try and pull across your body like this, and you're going to end up doing it like this. So it's instant feedback. That's why we put it on such an unstable surface. It's instant feedback. So when your ball starts to roll that way, you just got to roll it back out, and then you're just going to try and do little rolls without that knee flopping out to the side. So just little itty bitty rolls, again, without that knee flopping out to the side. All right, and again, these are advanced. So these are for those of you that are in that more advanced stage. Now, if you guys haven't noticed in recent videos, this is pretty much my new favorite tool. I get really obsessed with certain toys and have a tendency to kind of incorporate it into a lot of treatment sessions. But these are these twister discs. I did show it in a video on pivot turns, but I love these because it'll really reveal, especially if you're in the late stages, it'll really reveal if you have a tendency for that knee, that hip to rotate outward, because these are what we call like frictionless discs. So you can see they rotate and there's zero friction. So if you even have a little bit of tightness in that hip, this is going to really reveal it. So all we're basically doing here is we're rotating those hips inward. Now, remember I mentioned the rationale in that some people rotate out to the side because their foot supinates. This is a great way to work on keeping those heels, the arches of your feet down, so pronation, to feel what it feels like for that knee to rotate in. For some of you, if it's the supinated foot that's causing it to rotate outward, then just standing on something like this and pronating your feet should straighten it out, because these things are they move so easily. So again, hold on to something to start, and you're just going to work on little itty bitties. Knees rotating in. It's just a little itty bitty movement. All right, that's one. And then the other one is doing squats. So this is very revealing. I've done it with a couple of patients this week, that if you have any kind of like abnormal synergy pattern or linking up of the muscles in the leg, when you go to do a squat, typically when you're going to stand up, the leg rotates out. I can't explain that exactly. That's not really like a synergy pattern, but it's been pretty consistent with a few patients. So this will reveal it. So what you want to try and do is do that squat without that leg rotating out. And then if you can, and you feel balanced, don't hold on to anything and just try and stand. Now, two things that I've noticed that might happen is you shift over to your stronger leg. So that's one reason why it might rotate out to the side, is you just took all the weight off of it. So pay attention to that. If it rotates out, did I shift over onto one leg? And then just spontaneously, I've just seen people just standing, and if I get them distracted or something, that leg just drifts out. So if you notice either one of those, then you want to address that. Either add a distraction, count backwards from 100, add some kind of like a thinking task, and see if you can maintain it in. And then also really pay attention that you have weight on that leg, and then work on that rotation in. And then you can just have fun with it. You can work on your balance a little bit and just try and rotate both hips, rotate them out, rotate them in. This is all isolated hip rotation control, which is extremely important just with balance. So little plug here, it's not part of the internal rotation component of this video, but really just to isolate hip control. Love, love, love these. But again, we're doing little mini squats without letting it go out. Thing to pay attention to is to keep that weight on the inside of your foot. All right, and so then I guess this is just gonna be a full-blown tools video that we're doing today, but this is like a little mini wobble board. It's called a Blackboard. And you can see, look at my ankle, it kind of tips side to side. So there are little dowels that you can move on the bottom of it. I have the dowels right in the middle. And then what this is for is really for those of you that supinate. So first, what you want to do is just work on pronation. So let the foot roll out to the side and then try and pull it back the other way. If you can do that, then next you want to try and hold it slightly pronated and try and lift this other leg up and do a tap and bring it back down. So again, this is if your leg has a tendency to roll out when you're walking and you're standing on the leg. So keep it supinated and then do these little taps so that you can really feel what it feels like to have that foot more pronated. And then if you're really advanced, you can set your foot up there and then rock it. Now you can't do this if you have an AFO, and you really, really, really shouldn't do this unless you have good ankle stability. So use your judgment on this one. You can roll your ankle pretty easily on this, but you want to roll it from tip the board to the outside and then see if you can move it from a supinated position to a pronated position. So arch down and see if that corrects your knee. So for a lot of you that might do the trick, but if that is the case, then now you can really feel what it feels like to try not to let your foot supinate, so to try and actually pronate the foot when it tips the opposite direction. Okay, so we're biasing this leg by putting your uninvolved leg up on a block, and then you're just tipping it from the outside to the inside, back to the outside, back to the inside, trying to keep this leg straight but not hyperextended, out, in. And for a lot of you, if you can master this, that really will fix that knee flopping out if your knee rotates, or not flopping out, but if your knee rotates out when you're standing on the leg. And then from there, you really can progress to just having the toe down on this one, almost like that foot's off the ground, and then tap it, pull it in. So again, you're going to start with it supinated. Again, you need to be pretty high level to do this one. And then see if standing on one leg, if you can pull it into pronation. And then set the foot down, move it back to supination, soft knee but not hyperextended. Stand on that one leg and then see if you can pull it over. Again, stand on that one leg and see if you can pull it over. And then set it down. Start with it out. Stand on that leg and see if you can pull it in. All right, now this is a half foam roller, so it wobbles side to side. So this is another very kind of revealing tool that will really showcase if your leg likes to rotate out to the side because your foot supinates. Because this thing rolls, that it's going to be more exaggerated. So really what you're trying to do is just try and balance yourself on this roller and step forward and back without it tipping. Okay, so because it tips, you just want to step forward and back, trying to keep that knee straight. Again, because it rocks, it's going to be more susceptible to go out to the side. So your job is to keep that knee straight and do that forward and backward stepping. And then if you get really good at that, you can stand on it in a straight line. Again, it's going to be really revealing, and that leg could start tipping. Again, this is for those of you that are advanced, and then you're going to do a forward and backward tandem step on it. I absolutely think it's essential that you hold on. This is probably not even stable enough. I would probably hold on to a countertop. And again, you're just doing like a tandem step, walking in a straight line. So again, when you go to try and do that step, this exercise, it's going to be really revealing. Like if that knee automatically goes out, then you know that that's a problem area for you. And then that's something you want to work on. Just work on trying to keep that knee straight. Now, one quick side note, I do get people asking me a lot, do I need to think about activating my glutes or my quads? I mean, these are actual questions, but usually when I am educating someone in person, I really throw all that out the window. We didn't think about those things when we learned how to walk the first time. So it's definitely not going to be efficient for us to think, okay, activate my quads now, activate my ankle now. I just don't think it's like a helpful thought process. What I tell people is to visualize positions that you want to hit. You know, so stand up tall. So some people will say, activate your glutes. But I just say, like, when you're standing on the leg, for example, just stand tall versus like, I think about activating your glutes. I like those kind of cues better, like something that's just a quick visual in your head. So for this one, I wouldn't say like think about activating your anything or pronating your foot or anything like that. I would just think stay tall and keep everything straight. Try and keep everything pointed forward. And then that's really all I would think about when you're on this. And again, it's for those of you that are in the more advanced stages. That is it for this video. I hope you guys found that video helpful. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you'll get notified every time I upload new videos. If you want to get exercises throughout the week for free, head on over to Instagram and follow us over there where I post 1 to 2 videos every single week to kind of help keep your home exercise program fresh. We also have a gold monthly membership program where you will have access to now over 350 exercises and access to our monthly lives, which I think are so much fun and they're so valuable. And it's just a time once a month for us all to come together and for you to ask questions and I can answer them. And then everyone kind of learns together because you can kind of learn from other people's questions as well. So if you want more information on how to get signed up for that, link for that is in the description below. I would love for you to join it. I think it's super, super valuable, especially if you're going to physical therapy and all they're doing is walking you around in a circle. That is not going to improve the quality of your movement. All of our exercises are designed to improve quality movement, reduce pain with movement, improve your confidence with walking by working on specific movement patterns. So again, link for that is in the description below. I enjoyed spending time with you all today, and I will see you in the next video. You have a good day.